Su Ming awakens the gold skill to upgrade any equipment to max in his second life, but before all that, in the death den of S rank, a lot of people are gathered. There are many scary things in there, which is why for decades it has remained unconquered. Su Ming decided to challenge it all alone by himself. He slayed the strongest god-tier aberrant beast, and yet a voice says that Su Ming should stop trying to cling to life and hand over the divine artifact. He tells Su Ming to surrender, saying that Su Ming is a hero to humanity, and that they will grant him a swift death. He adds that if Su Ming tells them where he has hidden the divine artifact, they might even leave his corpse intact. Su Ming says that to think they ambushed him the moment he cleared the dungeon just to steal the divine artifact, so this was their plan all along. The enemy keeps laughing. He is Zhang Su-wan. As he moves forward, their weapons clash. Once again, Zhang says that Su Ming should hand over the divine artifact. For the sake of their past brotherhood, he says he won't kill him and will only destroy his powers. After laughing, Su Ming says that he must have been blind. Since he was 18, he treated Zhang like a brother, fighting by his side all these years. To think he never saw how venomous he truly was. Since all Zhang wants is the divine artifact, then Su Ming begins preparing a massive and powerful magical attack, leaving Zhang speechless as the aura materializes around him. Su Ming declares that if they want a taste of the divine ring of defiance's power, then they should come and take it, but he doubts any of them have what it takes, because Su Ming now has the power of the divine artifact and they can't act rashly. Yet Zhang then says that the plan is just one step away from completion. And then, as another figure appears, someone says Su Ming's name. Su Ming is preparing his aura-infused sword and is quite surprised by this sudden appearance. It's a lady, ready to strike, and he's shocked as he says that it's Xiao Man and asks what she is doing here. She then comes straight toward him and says that she heard someone was plotting against him and that she was very worried. Su Ming says that it's okay and that he has already obtained the divine artifact, the divine ring of defiance. He says they are no match for him now. However, there is one thing he doesn't understand, and he asks how they knew his whereabouts. Zhang is just quietly smirking as the lady continues. She further says that when she saw him awaken a 9-star talent, she knew she could use him to get the divine artifact. As Su Ming is getting really frustrated, he shouts in anger, saying damn it, but he can't do anything as he is far too trapped. Everyone then starts shouting to kill him, take the divine artifact, and they all rush toward him at once. Suddenly, from the ground, a skeletal hand rises, and then another group arrives, telling everyone to stop, along with a skeleton boy who immediately attacks everyone in the surroundings. Su Ming is quite surprised and asks what they are doing here. The lady with the skeleton boy reveals herself to be Ji Yao. She tells Su Ming not to give up and says that he can't let these despicable cowards obtain the divine artifact. She is Ji Yao, the Necromancer. Zhang scoffs and says that it's just another person looking to die. He claims there are dozens of masters present and that not even an emperor descending from the heavens could save Su Ming now. After that, everyone starts attacking Ji Yao and the skeleton boy. Ji Yao says that they are just really troublesome fellas. Zhang then attacks, saying that anyone who blocks his path will die. Immediately, Su Ming warns Ji Yao to watch her flank. Ji Yao notices, but it's already too late, as Zhang laughs after carrying out his attack. He tells her not to take it personally, calling her classmate Ji Yao. Now Su Ming is even more devastated, as Ji Yao is also taken down. He can't even save her. Zhang then says that this is no time to waste energy worrying about others and tells Su Ming that he can die too. He places his blade towards Su Ming and tells him to hand over the divine artifact, saying he might consider sparing his worthless life. Su Ming is extremely frustrated. He tries to break free from the chains, but no matter what he does, he can't move. He can't believe what's happening and curses them all. At that moment, a divine level technique bursts forth, causing a massive aura to explode and smoke to spread everywhere. Zhang is forced to retreat a few steps back. Another person shouts in shock, saying that this power is a divine level technique. Then a voice calls out Ji Yao's name. It is Su Ming, who has finally broken free from the chains. He rushes over, grabs Ji Yao, and asks why she came, saying that he has let her down so many times. He is overwhelmed with sadness. Ji Yao responds by telling Su Ming that if they have to die, then they will die together. Then the sword goes down into the ground, and Su Ming swears an oath. He says that today he, Su Ming, the god of slaughter, swears that if he is ever reborn, he will hunt them all down and tear them to pieces, calling out Ren Xiaoman and Zhang Suan by name. Xiaoman is shocked and asks what he is trying to do. Zhang immediately understands and says that Su Ming is trying to drag the divine artifact back into the death den with him. They all start moving quickly, realizing they don't have much time left. Zhang shouts for everyone to stop him and get the divine artifact. Su Ming responds by saying that if they want the divine artifact, then they should come and get it. With that, he jumps together with Ji Yao straight into the den. Later, in a very dark area, Su Ming is holding the divine artifact in his hand. He wonders if he is dead. He feels his body and starts questioning where he is. He then wonders what this place could be. Suddenly, an announcer speaks, saying that at the 127th Awakening Ceremony of Swanzong First Academy, classmate Wang Yang has successfully changed his profession to a life profession, enchanter, with an innate attribute of 3 stars. The announcer adds that most of the people awakened today are not combat professions. Another voice comments that enchanter is a very useful life profession and that its status will not be low in the future. At that moment, Su Ming finally realizes that he is at the awakening ceremony. He feels a strong sense of familiarity and realizes that he has traveled back to when he was 18, to the very day of the awakening ceremony. As the announcer continues, mentioning the student who just successfully awakened, Fatty Wang Chong, Su Ming thinks about his past life and recalls that he was also an enchanter. The announcer then announces the next awakening, saying that Li Songyang has successfully awakened a combat profession, warrior, with an innate attribute of 2 stars. Everything happening now matches Su Ming's memories exactly. He realizes that he can even predict what will happen next. As things continue just as expected, he smirks and realizes that he has been reborn. He then thinks about Zhang and that lady, and he prepares himself. He reflects that this chance to live again might be heaven's will, giving him the opportunity to rewrite all his regrets. Suddenly, screams erupt from the crowd as people shout that it's a hidden combat profession. They see Zhang Tang successfully awaken as a magic hammer warrior. Zhang Tang is extremely happy as his innate attribute level has reached 8 stars. The crowd starts commenting, saying that the first hidden combat profession has appeared and that it's Zhang Tang after all, the young master of the Zhang family. They mention that his father is a war emperor and his mother is a magic warrior, so his bloodline was pure to begin with. Su Ming also realizes that this guy is the same one. The announcer then congratulates everyone, saying that Swanzong First Academy has produced an 8-star genius so early this year. Suddenly, from behind Su Ming, a hand touches him. A voice says that this is where he was and that they have been looking for him for a while. Su Ming immediately recognizes the person behind him as Ji Yao. Ji Yao asks why he looks so surprised and whether there is something on her face. Su Ming replies that it's nothing and says that he just wanted to congratulate her in advance. Ji Yao looks confused and asks why he is congratulating her. Su Ming remembers what happened earlier in his past life and thinks about her, noticing how beautiful she is. He tells her it's nothing and that she will understand when she goes up in a moment. In his heart, he thinks about how good it feels to see her again. Soon after, the announcer calls out the next classmate, Ji Yao. Ji Yao is clearly surprised and realizes that it's her turn. The announcer instructs her to place her hand on the heavenly steel. Ji Yao does exactly that, and very soon the crowd begins shouting again, saying that it has appeared once more. The announcer announces that Ji Yao has awakened a hidden combat profession, Necromancer, with an innate level of 7 stars. The crowd erupts again, screaming that it's incredible and that another hidden combat profession has appeared. Someone comments that the academy is really popular this year. Su Ming thinks that everything is happening exactly as expected. Soon, it becomes his turn, and the announcer calls out Su Ming's name as he steps forward. People in the crowd start commenting that 2 hidden professions have already appeared in a row and wonder if there could really be a third one. Some doubt it, saying that Su Ming from Class 1 is just an orphan. In this world, dominated by the awakened of Blue Star Dragon Country, decades ago, after the day of awakening arrived, every person who reached the age of 18 could complete a profession change by participating in the awakening ceremony and become one of the awakened. The awakened have completely changed the face of this world. Not only can the awakened possess power that bends the rules, along with wealth and equipment to change their destiny, but at the same time, they must also face ferocious giant beasts, terrifying dungeons, and countless challenges. Continuing Su Ming's thoughts, he thinks that in his past life as an orphan, he lived relying on relief funds and scholarships. On the day of the awakening ceremony, he was extremely fortunate to be favored by the heavens, and a celestial phenomenon even appeared. In the end, he awakened with a 9-star innate attribute and the legendary profession, God of Slaughter. Continuing his thoughts, Su Ming thinks that today, in this life, he will once again make everyone see him in a new light. Everyone is watching keenly. The announcer says that that this kind of fluctuation might mean the birth of a genius with a 9-star or even higher innate attribute. Another person comments that such a phenomenon might indicate another hidden profession and wonders if that's really possible, saying that 3 in a row would be far too insane. Ming thinks to himself to let him feel the fluctuation of these runes once more. However, he suddenly notices something strange and realizes that this is the divine artifact, the divine ring of defiance. He thinks in shock that it actually traveled through time with him. Then he notices something else and wonders what it is. At that moment, the system responds, saying that the strongest class change, God's link system, has successfully bound. The system announces that a new profession has been bound, that the awakening is successful, and that the mythical profession, Sword God, has been obtained. It is a mythical profession, Sword God. Ming can hardly believe it. This is far more than what he was expecting. Everything around suddenly turns red, even the test area itself. The announcer is shocked and says that for a phenomenon like this to appear, he wonders what kind of profession Ming is changing into. People in the audience start commenting. One of them says that if it's a combat profession, that would be insane, but if it's a life profession, it would be a complete tragedy. Another person scoffs and says that with a phenomenon like this, there's no way it could ever be a life profession. Zhang watches silently from the side. Even he is feeling anxious now, thinking to himself about why Ming still isn't moving. The red light continues to grow brighter and brighter. Ming thinks to himself that this awakened profession is Sword God, not the god of slaughter from his previous life. He also realizes that this golden system is different from the one he had before. Soon after, a notification appears saying that the system has been identified, the target Ming has been confirmed, the awakened profession is Sword God, and the golden talent sublimation of all things has been obtained. All of this feels confusing to Ming since it's completely new to him, but he still realizes that this is even higher than the 9-star profession level he awakened in his past life. He feels excited and thinks that if this is really the case, then it should surpass his god of slaughter from before. However, another notification appears saying that the skill interface is opening and that no abilities have been awakened. This completely confuses Ming. He curses under his breath, wondering what kind of nonsense this is and complaining that it should at least give him 1 skill. He questions how something like this could even be worthy of a golden level. Someone in the crowd starts complaining, saying that Ming is dragging his feet. Another person urges him from the stage, asking whether he has finished his profession change yet. Ming is growing even more worried. He thinks that with not a single skill awakened, what difference is there from before he awakened at all? He wonders if the system is messing with him. Then another notification appears, saying that feedback has been received and that the system will continue to guide him. A requirement for identification is displayed, which leaves Ming confused. Soon, he notices a ring in his hand. The notification then announces that the divine ring of defiance has been successfully identified. With that, the system finally erupts with a bright golden light that spreads everywhere. The announcer shouts in shock, saying that such a strong fluctuation means the awakening is complete. Then a huge blue star appears, displaying the number 10. The announcer completely loses his composure, unable to believe that it's a 10-star result. Ming's profession change is announced as a hidden profession. Another guy notices it and shouts that it's an innate attribute of 10 stars, wondering what kind of heaven-defying monster this is. Someone else says that this is the talent level of a top scorer. Another person from behind exclaims that he thought Zhang Tang's 8-star magic hammer warrior was already terrifying enough, but now there's a fully maxed out 10-star one. The announcer then says that this year is truly a year of talent selection for the academy. He says that not only have multiple students with hidden professions appeared, but there is also a heavens chosen with a 10-star innate attribute. He adds that although the potential of the sword controller profession is not that outstanding within the swordsman class category, possessing a 10-star innate attribute means limitless potential in the future. As the announcer says this, Ming walks back into the crowd, and people immediately start commenting again. The principal announces that he has decided to award classmate Ming a set of cultivation assisting items. However, some people start whispering that it's only a sword controller and that it's such a waste of innate talent. Others openly say that sword controller is considered bottom tier within the swordsman class category. At that moment, Ji Yao comes running towards Ming, calling out his name and congratulating him. Ming responds and congratulates Ji Yao as well. Ji Yao says that everyone else is talking nonsense and that being able to awaken a 10-star talent is truly amazing. She adds that although the sword controller profession is a bit weaker in the early stages, she believes that with Su Ming's talent, it will definitely not be a problem. Su Ming thanks Ji Yao and tells her that he didn't take their words to heart. He says that their reaction is exactly what he wanted. Ji Yao feels a bit confused by this, but Su Ming simply keeps watching the scene ahead. Soon, another announcement is made for the next classmate. Everyone becomes very excited and starts cheering, telling her to go for it and praising how pretty she is. The announcer announces that the next classmate is Ren Xiaoman. Even Zhang cheers her on, telling her that she can do it. The crowd loudly supports her, calling out to classmate Xiaoman. Ji Yao comments that classmate Xiaoman is really popular and that it's expected of the school belle. However, Su Ming suddenly starts walking away. Ji Yao calls out to him, saying that the ceremony isn't over yet and that classmate Xiaoman is about to awaken. Su Ming replies that he isn't interested. He thinks about what happened in his past life. He thinks that in his previous life, that woman used his talent and, in the end, didn't hesitate to betray him. He keeps thinking about it and reminds himself that he already said it before. He swears in his heart that he will have his revenge as Xiaoman steps onto the stage. Later, on the city streets, Su Ming reflects that in this life, everything about daily life seems unchanged except for his awakened profession. Then he notices a skill called Total Concealment. The notification explains that it is a legendary skill called Return to True Self, capable of hiding or rewriting one's own information, such as equipment, profession, skills, and more. Su Ming finds this very interesting and continues looking at it. He realizes that it is one of the 4 skills he brought back from his previous life through the ring. Another notification appears, stating that the divine artifact, the Divine Ring of Defiance, is loading. It says that he has inherited a portion of the skills from the god-slaying profession and that a new profession, Sword God, has been established. Su Ming reflects that with the skills of the God of Slaughter, many powerful traits are now attached to him. Su Ming thinks that an ordinary man is innocent, but treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. To avoid being used by others again like in his past life, and because his current strength is still not enough, he realizes that since a 10-star talent can't be hidden, he must hide the information about his sword god profession. He thinks that this chance at rebirth must be seized firmly. Based on his past life experience, he knows that the day after the awakening ceremony ends, the Novice Dungeon challenge will arrive. For him, the Novice Dungeon is not a challenge at all. In order to level up faster and obtain better equipment, he decides that he must challenge the most difficult boss. Before that, he knows he needs to get his hands on a good weapon. Soon after, he arrives at a massive building. At the same time, Zhang and Xiaoman are together elsewhere. Xiaoman complains that Zhang is really bad, saying that the awakening ceremony just ended this morning and now he's already taking her to a place like this. Zhang grumbles and says not to mention the awakening ceremony, complaining that Su Ming completely stole his thunder. Xiaoman tells him not to be angry. She says that although Su Ming is just a sword controller, the attributes he awakened are too high and that he will definitely have a lot of use value in the future. Zhang pauses and asks what she means by that. Xiaoman then shows him her phone and tells him to look. Zhang reacts, asking what this is. Xiaoman explains that if she goes and baits Su Ming a little, he will definitely take the hook and be of use to them in the future. Elsewhere, inside another tall building, a lady warmly welcomes customers to the weapon shopping area on the 12th floor and wishes everyone a pleasant shopping experience. Su Ming thinks that this is the place. He observes that it seems the awakening ceremonies at nearby schools have all ended and that awakened students are now preparing for tomorrow's novice dungeon trial. One of the students nearby excitedly comments that this is the latest model from the advertisements and says he wanted it badly. Another student sighs and says to forget it, explaining that awakened students like them could never afford such an expensive weapon. He adds that they'll just have to rely on their awakened abilities, work like dogs, and earn money in the future. Another person suddenly points something out and says that this is the Tyrant's Frigid Sword. He explains that it was recently forged by a very high-level Great Swords class player and says he can't believe it's already available on the market. Another person comments that the price is 1 million Advent coins and says it's insanely expensive. Someone else responds that of course it is, explaining that as long as the sword hits a target, it can completely freeze the blood inside a monster. Others exclaim in amazement that it's a diamond-grade weapon. Su Ming, however, thinks that this weapon is a fake. He remembers that in his past life, the group of merchants who sold these fakes were all caught later. Just then, someone suddenly asks if he is classmate Su Ming. It's a lady. Su Ming asks who she is. She says that she hasn't introduced herself yet and introduces herself as Xiang Lan, the vice director of the Xiang Gen conglomerate, before handing him her business card. Su Ming immediately responds that he doesn't think he knows her. Suddenly, she says that on behalf of the Xiangzhen conglomerate, she will cover all of his expenses in the store today. She adds that she hopes Su Ming can do her a favor. Su Ming wonders what kind of favor she wants. She then tells someone to bring out the photograph. Right away, someone presents it to him and asks him to take a look. The photograph shows a beautiful lady. Xiang Lan explains that the girl is her younger sister, Jiang Yongqing, who goes to the same school as Su Ming and also successfully awakened this morning. She says that she has already thoroughly investigated the news of Su Ming awakening a 10-star talent. She adds that with his talent, tomorrow's novice dungeon should not be too difficult. She also points out that only newly awakened profession changers can enter the novice dungeon. She says that she hopes Su Ming can team up with her sister and protect her as she completes the challenge. After hearing this, Su Ming is left speechless for a moment. After a short pause, he says that he refuses and that he's not interested. The lady is surprised and asks what he means. She says that as long as he agrees, he can pick any weapon in the store. People around them are confused and whisper among themselves, wondering if he really refused. Xiang Lan then says that as a fellow student and as a poor student who has just successfully awakened, he shouldn't refuse her offer. Su Ming calmly responds and asks if that's so. Then he says that in that case, he wants it as he points toward an extremely expensive item. It's the Frosty Sky Cold Sword, priced at 1 million advent coins. The crowd gasps and starts saying that he's making an outrageous demand. Even Xiang Lan is shocked. She questions him angrily, asking if he's deliberately making things difficult for her and whether he really thinks he's worth 1 million with his current status. Su Ming says that wasn't she the one who said he could pick whatever he wanted, and that if she's not willing, then they can just forget it. He adds that there are many things where people can take shortcuts using financial power and tells her to have her sister put all her effort into preparing for tomorrow's novice dungeon test. Xiang Lan snorts and says that he's interesting. She says they'll consider this their offense against him this time and tells everyone to leave. Someone nearby mutters in shock, saying that guy actually played the people from the Xiangzhen conglomerate. Su Ming doesn't care and simply looks down at his phone. There's a message from Ren Xiaoman. The message says that Su Ming always liked her and that she has had a change of heart. She says she wants to see him tonight on the roof of the school building. Su Ming thinks to himself that it's the exact same message as before. Even though he didn't awaken the god-slaying profession this time, she's still the same. He thinks that Ren Xiaoman really hasn't changed at all and recalls how the him at this time in his previous life would have reacted. After a moment, he replies and says okay, that he'll see her there. He then excuses himself. A saleswoman responds politely and asks how she may help him. Su Ming asks whether these are the raw sword stones that can randomly produce high-quality sword weapons. She confirms that they are, explaining that these raw weapon stones have a chance to produce silver-grade weapons. She adds that everything is based on probability and warns him that most raw stones only produce the lowest-grade weapons. She tells him to consider carefully before buying. Su Ming responds that this is exactly what he wants. The lady looks confused as he starts grabbing several stones. He explains that compared to buying a silver weapon at a high price that will soon become obsolete, gambling for one here at a cheap price is the most suitable option. In his heart, Su Ming thinks that rather than calling it a gamble, he should say that he can see the data inside these raw stones. He realizes that this is all thanks to the second skill left behind by his god's link from his past life, the Eye of Insight. He recalls that Eye of Insight is a legendary skill under Return to True Self, granting the user true insight, allowing them to perceive the fundamental information of all matter. Su Ming thinks that this is perfect. Compared to ordinary silver weapons that sell for thousands or even hundreds of advent coins, getting one now for just 50 is an absolute steal. It's perfectly suited for him now that he's back to being a poor student. Suddenly, another guy notices Su Ming and says that isn't that the kid who just rejected the Zhang family and the conglomerate. He asks what Su Ming is holding in his hand. They immediately move closer and mock him, saying that isn't one of those trashy raw weapon stones used for gambling on weapons. Another person sneers and says that he thought Su Ming was some big shot with a lot of confidence, rejecting an offer from a conglomerate just to come here and play with trashy stones. He laughs and asks if Su Ming is an idiot. Su Ming only sighs. In his heart, he thinks that he recognizes this person. He remembers that it's Yang Ding, the rich kid who specialized in bullying lower-class students in his past life, and thinks about how annoying he is. Su Ming then speaks up and tells them that he's talking to them. The others react in confusion and ask what he wants. Su Ming calmly asks whether they dare to bet 5,000 advent coins that he can get a silver weapon. They look at each other, fall silent for a moment, and then burst into laughter. They mock him, saying that he really is an idiot and that these kinds of raw weapon stones have a 99.99% chance of producing trash. They claim they've never seen someone who likes to give away money so eagerly and keep laughing. Ming simply smiles and says that they'll see who ends up giving money to whom. The others immediately agree, saying it's settled and that they'll open it right now, warning him not to even think about backing out. A notification appears, confirming the opening of the raw stone. Someone behind them mocks Ming again, saying they'll see if a poor guy like him can even cough up 5,000 advent coins. At that moment, Ming activates his skill Eye of Insight. In his mind, he can clearly see the result. Calmly, he tells it to come out. Everyone around is shocked, unable to believe what is about to appear. Soon after, an astonishing weapon emerges, leaving all the onlookers completely stunned. A notification appears, stating that a weapon has been acquired. Black Iron Crimson Edge Sword, low-grade silver. Its special effect is Blood Drinker, which allows the sword to absorb the blood of injured monsters and use it to heal the wielder's injuries. Holding the weapon in his hand, Ming comments that this is a really good weapon. In his heart, he thinks that it's just right for tonight's date. The rich guys are completely shocked. They say that he really fluked it. Ming calmly says that this sword isn't bad and that it even has a lifesteal effect, saving him the trouble of needing a healer. Soon after, a notification appears, stating that he has obtained the Xian Steel Sword, silver grade, with a lifesteal effect of plus 10%. The rich guys are stunned. Ming then reminds them that a bet is a bet and says that he'll be taking the 5,000 advent coins now, asking if they have any problem with that. Moments later, the money transfer is completed. One of the rich guys glares at him and says that he'll remember him. Ming casually responds that next time, they shouldn't make bets with people so easily. A lady nearby comments in disbelief that the stats are right in the middle, and that it's been years since anyone in the shop managed to get a weapon from a raw weapon stone. Ming then asks politely if he can also get a matching scabbard. He adds that if he remembers correctly, it should cost exactly 5,000 coins. The lady hurriedly agrees and tells him to come this way to select a scabbard. Meanwhile, another guy behind them urges everyone to disperse, saying that this kid is just way too lucky and that they should leave. Another notification appears, stating that a silver grade scabbard has been obtained, with the effect of reducing weapon durability consumption by 50%. Ming feels satisfied, thinking that with the scabbard, he can greatly reduce the durability loss of his weapon, since he doesn't have enough funds to replace his sword anytime soon. The lady thanks him for his patronage. A notification then appears, asking whether to open the hidden weapon materialization function. Ming declines for now, saying that he's going to take this weapon and raise it by another grade first. Later, in another area where people are casually enjoying sports, Ming is completely absorbed, staring at his beautiful sword. He thinks that in this life, although he has awakened as a sword god, he doesn't have a single usable profession skill yet. However, he notices that on the profession talent tree, there is a very powerful original talent called Sublimation of All Things. A notification explains that this talent can upgrade the quality of any loot, including combat skills, equipment, scrolls, and more. Each item can only be sublimated, directly or indirectly, once. Ming feels grateful, thinking that just having this talent alone is already enough. He believes it is truly worthy of the golden great profession that Sword God represents. Finally, another notification appears, stating that the talent sublimation of all things has been triggered. Weapon sublimation is successful and a new effect has been gained, Bloodthirst. The scabbard has become even stronger. Following that, a notification appears, stating that the Xian Steel Bloodthirst sword has been upgraded to high-grade silver, with the Blood Drinker effect. This means that after the sword locks onto a target, it can absorb the target's blood through attacks or direct contact, healing the wielder's injuries. Additionally, the Bloodthirst effect means that after killing a monster with the sword, all of the wielder's stats will temporarily increase by 5 points for 30 seconds. Ming thinks that after killing an enemy, he can gain a temporary buff that boosts all his stats, and he feels that this is not bad at all. He then says to open the hidden weapon materialization function, believing that tomorrow's Novice dungeon will now be much easier. Later, at a different place, in a very dark area, Ming carries his sword as he makes his way toward the roof. On the rooftop, Xiaoman appears and says that he's finally here and points out that he's late. However, Xiaoman suddenly notices something that shocks her. She sees the sword, a very large one, and lets out a scream. She asks what he is doing. Ming stays silent for a moment, then calmly says that he's here for revenge. He is still remembering what happened back then. Xiaoman is stunned and asks what he means by revenge and what he's talking about. She says that she accepted his confession and shows him her phone. On the screen are messages where she asked if he was there and said there was something she wanted to tell him. She shows how he asked what it was, and how she replied that she had actually liked him for a long time and asked if he would go out with her. She says that's why she took the initiative to ask him out and accuses him of being the one who wanted to date her, only to now try to hurt her. Ming continues thinking silently. Then he lets out a small laugh and says that all of that was in his previous life. In his heart, he thinks about how she, the school beauty, had always been a prominent figure. He remembers that as an orphan who never received attention growing up, he never thought he'd have a chance to interact with someone like her. Ming keeps thinking that he certainly never imagined that on the second day after the awakening ceremony, things would turn out like this. At that moment, he finally realizes what is happening. Xiaomen walks closer and asks if classmate Ming is not feeling well. Ming continues thinking that she would actually take the initiative to show concern. Ming angrily says that from that day on, he received the care he had yearned for his entire life, confessions, dating, and intimate interactions, and that those were the times he treasured the most. But he says it was all fake. He says that he knows all about her sordid dealings with Zhang Tang and that she was only trying to use his talent and abilities. Xiao Man immediately retorts and says that he dares to spout nonsense. Ming replies that she knows perfectly well whether he is spouting nonsense or not. He says that the beautiful and graceful Ren Xiao Man everyone sees is a lie and that in reality she is vain, despicable, and shameless. Xiao Man can't believe what she's hearing. She says that he knows nothing and mocks him for being an orphan. She says that if his talent hadn't been worth something, he wouldn't even have had the chance to speak to her. She angrily asks how he dares to call her that and declares that neither she nor Zhang Tang will let him get away with it. Ming scoffs and says to bring it on. He adds that she should be more worried about how the story of her and Zhang Tang, those despicable lovebirds, will affect the pure and innocent image she has worked so hard to maintain. Realizing this, Ren Xiao Man curses in anger. She grabs the sword in her hand and strikes. Ming calmly says that just like in his previous life, she is doing exactly the same thing again. Suddenly, the sword begins to emanate a red aura. Xiao Man is confused and lets out a sound of disbelief. Ming responds that she likes sneak attacks and that he was expecting it. At that moment, a notification appears, stating that the weapon has been activated and that Blood Drinker is in effect. It explains that after the sword locks onto a target, it can absorb the target's blood through attacks or contact to heal the wielder's injuries. Ming says that the trap was set from the very beginning, from the moment he made her the target. As Xiao Man finally realizes what has happened, she screams in panic about her face, saying it's disfigured. Ming coldly tells her that she brought this upon herself and that now is the time for his revenge. He says that she can have Zhang Tang kill him if she wants, since that was the man she betrayed him for. With the sword in his hand, Ming turns around and begins to walk away. As he leaves, he tells her to go back and tell Zhang Tang that he's welcome to come and settle the score with him anytime. He says that today's slap should be considered something he personally delivered and that it also cuts away the concern he once treasured. He tells her to accept it as a gift. At that moment, a notification appears. It lists several rewards, including a marrow strengthening pill, a combat suit gift pack, and 10,000 advent coins. The notification explains that this is a novice gift pack exclusively for student Ming of 10-star talent, granted by the school as a reward. It says they hope he can make good use of it and achieve excellent results in the novice dungeon. The message is signed by Principal 1. Ming thinks that as expected of his 10-star golden talent, he can already learn a new talent at just level 2. He thinks that he'll show them what he's got in today's novice dungeon. Later, at the Xiangjing First Academy Novice Dungeon area, a large crowd has gathered. Everyone is talking and moving around restlessly. Ming is also there, and soon people behind him start approaching. One of them asks if classmate Ming can team up with them. He says that with the potential of Ming's 10-star talent and the principal's novice gift pack helping him, even as a sword controller, clearing the novice dungeon should be easy, and they ask to join him. Another person adds that their professions can compensate for the weaknesses of a sword controller, allowing them to complement each other and increase the contribution value they earn. Ming thinks that just yesterday, this same group of people were looking down on his profession, and he finds it ironic how pragmatic they are. He politely declines and says that he already has a team. At that moment, Jiao walks over, surprised, and says that Ming already has a team. She says that she came early in the morning hoping to be the first to team up with him. Ming tells Ji Yao not to misunderstand. He explains that what he plans to challenge isn't for ordinary contribution rewards. He says that if Ji Yao teamed up with him, he would worry about her getting hurt because he plans to challenge the dungeon alone. Ji Yao pauses and says that she understands. Ming then excuses himself. Soon after, another student approaches and politely asks if he is student Su Ming. He introduces himself as Yan Ji from class 4 and says that his awakened talent is the 9-star demon hunting ranger. He asks whether Su Ming would be willing to join their team. Su Ming thinks that he remembers Yan Ji. In his previous life, Yan Ji was also a 9-star awakened just like him. Even so, Su Ming calmly refuses. Ji Yao immediately steps forward and says that classmate Su Ming has already teamed up with her and tells Yan Ji not to bother him. Yan Ji responds apologetically, saying that he didn't know and that he's sorry for disturbing them. Ji Yao then turns to the others and tells everyone else to go away and disperse. Watching this, Su Ming thinks that Ji Yao is really reliable. He also senses that the dungeon is about to open. Suddenly, a notification appears and an announcement echoes through the area, stating that attention students, the 127th Novice Dungeon Challenge has now officially begun. Su Ming reacts immediately and says that it's starting. Then the announcer speaks again and apologizes, saying that as the principal, he overslept and couldn't make it to the start to cheer them on. He explains that he can only live stream from home to explain the rules of the Novice Dungeon. He says that the 127th Novice Dungeon Challenge is a trial that this year's newly awakened students must go through. He continues, explaining that every student has already been registered and that they can be identified as soon as they enter the dungeon. Inside the dungeon, each challenger will earn points and settlement rewards based on their individual contribution during the challenge. To ensure a higher survival rate, he says it's best to challenge the dungeon in teams. He adds that as long as they complete the dungeon within the day, they will have finished the first dungeon challenge of their life after awakening. The announcer then says that the moment that decides their fate has arrived and asks if they are ready. At that moment, Ji Yao looks around in confusion and wonders where Su Ming is, saying she can't find him anywhere. Without any further delay, the announcer declares that the dungeon is officially open. Immediately, everyone rushes toward the entrance. Suddenly, someone notices that a person has already gone in and says that it was way too fast. Another person confirms it, saying they saw it too and that it was the 10-star Su Ming. Inside the dungeon, Su Ming feels excited and happy. He thinks that this novice dungeon feels extremely familiar and suddenly makes him feel nostalgic. He remembers that back then, he was both scared and excited, rushing around recklessly just to gain more contribution value. He thinks about the profession holders of Blue Star and feels that the multiversal slaughter is about to begin. He knows that this place is filled with both danger and opportunity. To leave this place and receive rewards, challengers must complete the trial. He also remembers that besides obtaining enough contribution value by killing the regular boss, there is another, much more difficult method. Su Ming thinks that in this life, he will choose the harder challenge, which is to slay the ultimate hidden boss. He steels himself and thinks that he's coming for it. Soon, countless insects and beasts roam through the darkness of the Raging Tide Forest, a level F area. Su Ming observes his surroundings and thinks that the novice dungeon map is random every year. This place is completely different from the map he encountered in his previous life. He also realizes that all dungeon portal spawn points are random, meaning route planning is different for every challenger, and the monsters they encounter will also be different. A tree monster stands in the distance. Su Ming thinks that this guy is an elite monster. Although it's immobile like a tree, if its vines lock onto a target, the victim will be dragged into the burning hollow on its head and roasted alive. He thinks that his goal is to challenge the hidden boss, so there's no need to waste time dealing with these troublesome monsters. He reminds himself that the reason he rushed to be the first into the dungeon was to scout the route in advance and find what he needs to challenge the hidden boss. He thinks that although the dungeon map changes every year, the way to fight the hidden boss does not. If more people enter later, it will become much harder to gather the required items. With that in mind, he starts rushing around to collect more and more items, urging himself to move faster. Later, at 7:30 a.m., more challengers enter the dungeon. They look around cautiously. One of them says that there don't seem to be any other challengers nearby. Another agrees and says that since it's quiet, it should be safe for now. Suddenly, they hear a strange sound. Not far away, they see someone running toward them while shouting for help. Seeing this, they immediately panic. The man yells that it's a giant fringed blood rat. The group is terrified and starts running away, shouting for everyone to split up and run. Soon after, a report appears. It states that at 7:31 a.m., 3 challengers were knocked to death by a fringed blood rat. Among them, the highest ranked was a 6-star talent awakened, Li Dabiao. Ji Yao hears the report and is shocked. She says that she hasn't even formed a team yet and that even a 6-star awakened has already been taken down. She realizes that challengers are already dying inside the dungeon. Others around her urgently call out, telling everyone to form teams quickly, saying that the people inside the dungeon need more help. Elsewhere inside the dungeon, The lady seen earlier is running alone. She is exhausted, her breathing heavy, but she forces herself to keep moving as fast as she can. She thinks that she got separated from the others and has no idea where she is now. She realizes that she is completely lost, yet she continues running forward. Suddenly, she sees a dark monster ahead of her. As it turns around, its expression is furious and savage. She recognizes it and cries out that it's an ape monster. She has no way to escape as the monster prepares to attack. In desperation, she screams for help. At that instant, a sword flashes through the air and slashes the monster apart. It is Su Ming who has finally arrived to help. As Su Ming slashes the monster down, another group nearby is shown in complete panic as they face a bloodthirsty brown bear, elite level 5. One of the guys tries to run and shouts that he can't believe he ran into an elite monster right at the start and complains about his terrible luck. Another kid screams in fear. Elsewhere, a swamp hunter level 2 is attacking more challengers. Chaos erupts everywhere as people scream while being hunted down by tracking hounds. One man urgently calls through the channel, saying that the transport point at the 9 o'clock position on the map is surrounded by monsters, and that they are requesting more support. Another scene shows a dragonized lizard, level 5, chasing down a different group. A girl desperately calls out that the 6 o'clock position needs help. Another voice reports that the 11 o'clock position is also surrounded and that monsters keep coming endlessly. A lady reports in despair that the central direction team is down to 5%, saying all of her teammates have been wiped out. She thinks that if they hadn't told her to hide, she would already be dead. She reflects that the dungeon has only been open for half an hour, yet the difficulty of this novice dungeon is already far too high. She wonders if newly awakened students can really survive and clear it. At that moment, the same lady whom Su Ming helped earlier stares in shock at the scene in front of her. She exclaims that he's incredibly strong and that he killed the monster instantly. She thanks him for saving her and asks if he is the 10-star Su Ming. Su Ming replies calmly that he was just passing by, but says he can't save her a second time. He warns her that the monster hasn't been fully dealt with yet. The girl panics and lets out a startled sound before turning and running. She shouts that she'll go get reinforcements and tells him to hang in there. As she runs away, Su Ming activates Eye of Insight. He sees the monster's true form and stats in his vision. He identifies it as a vicious beast, a mutated ape king level 3, with strength 28, constitution 24, agility 5, spirit 6, luck 4, and a skill called Slash. Su Ming thinks that it's a mutated ape king, which explains why it managed to survive continuous attacks from his silver grade weapon in an F-rank dungeon. Suddenly, the creature charges forward and strikes. Su Ming narrowly dodges the attack. He thinks that its speed isn't bad at all and decides to have a little contest with it. A reminder surfaces in his mind from earlier. A notification had informed him that he inherited part of the Godslayer profession's abilities. The third skill is Divine Shadow Step, an accelerated movement technique that increases speed by 50% the moment it is activated. While active, the user becomes immune to physical, magical, and spirit attacks and cannot be targeted, but it consumes a large amount of stamina. Su Ming grips his sword and rushes forward to strike the monster. He tells it that he's behind it. The monster turns around in surprise, and Su Ming adds that it looks like there's no need for a contest after all, calling it boring. He slashes again and says that he's done playing with it. A notification immediately appears, stating that the vicious beast, the mutated ape king, has been successfully defeated. With that, Su Ming obtains loot, a linear/skill scroll, low-grade bronze. He thinks that although it's only low-grade bronze, a linear/skill isn't bad at all for a novice dungeon. Soon after, another notification appears announcing First Blood. A follow-up message states that the level 2 sword controller player has completed the first kill of the mutated ape king in the Raging Tide Forest and has been awarded the title First Blood. Su Ming comments that this is a dungeon achievement notification and explains that when a player successfully kills a monster, everyone inside the dungeon receives the notification. The other challengers are shocked. Some of them say that a player actually managed to kill a monster, and a mutated one at that. Another notification is broadcast to everyone, announcing a dungeon title reward and stating that all players in the dungeon receive a small healing potion. A girl who was desperately hiding from a monster says she's saved and that she really needed to replenish her health. Soon, discussions break out everywhere. Some people wonder if the sword controller who made the kill could be Su Ming from the First Academy. Others mention that Su Ming is the 10-star sword controller, but also point out that there are several sword controllers this year from surrounding cities. Another person says that regardless of who it was, someone completing the first kill proves that newly awakened American students do have the strength to clear the dungeon. Ming, however, thinks that this is bad. He realizes that the title system has exposed his strength and that he will need to be more careful later and use his total concealment skill beforehand. He also thinks that he didn't expect that even half an hour into the dungeon, no other player had managed to kill a monster yet. Not wanting to draw more attention, Ming quickly moves away. Soon, a group of hungry wolves, level 3, appears ahead. Still keeping a low profile, Ming thinks that wolf monsters are one of the 3 classic mobs for novice leveling, making them perfect targets to test his new sword-based attack skill. Earlier, he had already used his talent skill, Sublimation of All Things, to upgrade the low-grade bronze linear/skill scroll he obtained from killing the mutated Ape King. The new skill he acquired is Yeto/low-grade silver. The skill focuses the mind and delivers all power into a single decisive slash. As the wolves howl and prepare to attack, Ming unleashes his slashing technique and cuts one of them down instantly. The remaining wolves are completely stunned, clearly not expecting anyone to fight back like this. Trying out his new skill, Ming takes down the wolves one after another. A notification appears, saying that he slew a hungry wolf and gained 80 experience points. Soon after, another notification pops up, saying that he slew a hungry wolf and gained 800 experience points. Then once more, another notification appears, stating that he slew a hungry wolf and gained 8,000 experience points. At 9:30 a.m., after taking down a large number of wolves, Ming feels quite satisfied with his progress. Another notification appears, congratulating him for leveling up to level 9 and awarding him the title Legend of the Hungry Wolf. Ming thinks to himself that it's a success. Standing there, he reflects that by using the properties of Yeto/, which allows for long-range attacks, farming these low-level hungry wolf monsters becomes much more efficient. He draws his sword from the scabbard and then sheathes it again, thinking that the energy generated accumulates for a certain amount of time, locks onto the target, and then is released in a single swing. As he slashes, more wolves are cut down. At that moment, a powerful monster appears and blocks the strike. It slaps the attack aside. It's the Wolf King leader, Level 10. At 8:30 a.m., elsewhere in the dungeon, a group of people cheers as they announce that their party has been formed successfully. They shout for everyone to move out. Another group behind them also says they have formed a party and tells others to follow up. As they enter the dungeon together, they begin counterattacking again and again. Someone shouts that the main force has arrived. They scream as they continuously slice through monsters with their swords. This time, everyone gains experience, and a notification appears stating that a mutated field mouse has been successfully killed. Finally, after defeating a special monster, they all start cheering, saying that they can win. Another person excitedly declares that the main force is here and that they won't lose to the first blood player who sent them potions. Some of them even start crying when they reach level 2, saying that they finally leveled up. However, another person suddenly notices something and says that there's another notification about a player getting first blood on a leader monster. The notification announces that a level 9 fisherman player in Raging Tide Forest has achieved first blood on a leader monster and obtained the title Leader of Leaders. Everyone is stunned. They comment in disbelief, wondering how a level 9 fisherman could be this strong and questioning how a life profession could already reach level 9. 10 minutes earlier, the scene shows Ming striking the Wolf King leader. The Wolf King tries to dodge but still loses a large amount of health. Another strike lands directly afterward. With swift and precise footwork, Ming leaps forward and mocks the Wolf King leader, saying that just because it's a leader doesn't mean it's anything special. The Wolf King finally goes down. Ming follows up and says that its opponent is him, then slashes once more. In his mind, he thinks about being a reincarnator. A notification immediately appears, congratulating him for slaying the silver-backed Wolf King. It states that he gained 500 experience points and has reached level 10. His Yeto/ proficiency increases by 145, and his Thunder Rush sword art proficiency increases by 100. He also obtains loot, including an iron slashing claw, bone materials, and Wolf King hide. Elsewhere, another player finally cuts down a monster and sighs in relief, saying that he expended a tremendous amount of effort just to deal with a pack of hungry wolves. Another guy behind him adds that they were lucky the attack boost scroll rewarded by the dungeon title arrived in time, or they probably would have been wiped out. The first guy then complains again, wondering what's wrong with this dungeon. He says it makes no sense that a level 9 fisherman exists and questions how a life profession could level up so quickly, saying it's that's practically mocking normal players. He grumbles that the damage of his broken novice machete is way too low, and complains that if he hadn't been scammed out of money by that kid at the weapon shop, he could have at least bought a silver-grade weapon. Another person tries to smooth things over and says that brother Yang Ding shouldn't be so angry, and that the kid's luck is just too good. Yang Ding explodes in anger and shouts at him to shut up, calling him useless. He says that he was the one tanking damage the entire time, and that even after sharing experience and killing so many wolves, he only reached level 2. He curses himself as the biggest sucker of all and fumes that he doesn't know whether that kid has entered the dungeon yet. He swears that if he meets him, he'll destroy him just to vent his anger. The other guy quickly tries to calm him down and says not to be angry, pointing out that they've all reached level 2 now, and that continuing to farm wolf monsters will become much easier. Yang Ding responds with a cold grunt. Later, Su Ming notices the number 10 appearing beside his health bar. He thinks that it's finally here. A notification appears, congratulating him on reaching level 10 and announcing that the primary profession change task has been triggered. The task content will be randomly selected based on his actual situation. Su Ming thinks that in this life, the first class change task still triggers at level 10. Another notification repeats that the task content is being randomly selected based on his current situation. Su Ming reflects that the most important thing is that the opportunity has finally come. He thinks that in his previous life, when he reached level 10, it was already after he had left the novice dungeon. Because of that, the randomly refreshed first-class change task matched the higher difficulty E-rank dungeon he was challenging at the time. Back then, he couldn't complete the challenge at the same level at all. He had to spend a long time grinding up to level 15 before going back to complete the first-class change task. In the end, that greatly reduced the benefits of the rewards he received from the task. But this life is different. He reached level 10 right inside the novice dungeon. Because of that, a notification appears and says that he has successfully triggered the first-class change task. The task requirement is to kill the Guardian of Red Rock Cave, a powerful elite monster. The task location is Red Rock Cave, inside the Raging Tide Forest. Su Ming continues thinking it through and realizes that the task content is indeed inside the novice dungeon. He thinks that this makes things much easier. He smirks while looking at the task details and thinks that next, he just needs to add all the attribute points gained from leveling up into agility. With that, this first-class change task is basically guaranteed. Soon after, another notification appears. It congratulates him for breaking through 100 points in agility and announces that he has obtained a sword god profession skill called Sword Martial Master. The notification explains that Sword Martial Master is a passive skill with low-grade platinum quality and a proficiency of 0 out of 100,000. It also states that the skill allows him to equip sword-type weapons of any level while ignoring all equipment requirements. Xianjing City First Academy Meeting Room. One of the men looks at the data on the screen and says that the ranked list of rookie dungeon data for students with strong talents in the surrounding cities has been released. The principal asks whether anyone is missing from the statistics. The man responds by asking where Su Ming is, saying that he was the one the principal had high hopes for. Another person speaks up and says that no one is missing. He explains that this is all the data returned from the dungeon. However, he points out that at 8 o'clock, the dungeon's first blood title showed a sword controller and that it should be student Su Ming, the one the principal is concerned about. The principal frowns and says that it's only the first blood title. He adds that although Su Ming's profession is sword controller, he was born with full 10-star attributes and even received a novice gift pack from him. He says that even if Su Ming's skills are lacking, he should still be able to kill a few monsters with brute force alone, and questions how he could not even make it into the top 500. At that moment, another man enters the room and asks what the situation is. He addresses the principal, saying that he heard the school produced a very good seedling this year. He is the vice mayor of Xianjing City. The vice mayor says that it's the 10-star awakened named Su Ming, right? He adds that his secretary already showed him the novice dungeon data. He points out that student Su Ming, whom the principal personally recommended, is not on the ranking list at all. The principal laughs nervously and asks the vice mayor not to get excited. He explains that although Su Ming has 10-star talent, his profession is sword controller, so his early game combat power is slightly weaker. Vice Mayor and cuts him off and says that even if he is a sword controller, it is impossible for him to not even enter the top 500. He tells the principal to stop explaining and accuses him of lying about the student's strength just to obtain more Heavenly Tower Council qualification tokens this year. The principal hurriedly says that he really did not lie. However, before he can continue, the discussion shifts. Someone summarizes the current data and says that at present, the school only has Yan Ji, a 9-star talent with a hidden profession Confrontation, Demon Hunting Ranger, ranked second on the leaderboard. He says Yanji has great potential and is the best candidate to compete with the neighboring city's genius, Li Chunguang, this year. He then adds that there is another promising one, the Zhang family's legitimate son, Zhang Tang, who has a hidden profession, magic hammer warrior, and an innate 8-star talent. He notes that Zhang Tang is currently ranked 4th and is also very promising. The vice mayor concludes that for now, he can only give the academy 2 qualification tokens for the Heavenly Tower Council. The principal nervously responds that their school usually gets 3 tokens in previous years. Vice mayor and replies coldly, saying that it's because the academy has been at the bottom for the last 2 years. He adds that if they are at the bottom again this year, next year they won't even have any slots to join the Heavenly Tower Council at all. The principal hurriedly asks what if students achieve good results later on. The vice mayor responds that they will count it then, but says that he is busy and is leaving first. After he leaves, the principal has nothing more to say, and neither do the staff members behind him. Still, he speaks with a heavy tone and says that the Heavenly Tower Council is an extremely important path for accepting tasks, obtaining rewards, and improving strength. He says that the academy absolutely cannot lose its qualification to join it. He sighs and says that he originally thought that with a 10-star awakened student this year, they could secure 1 more token, but instead, they actually lost one. He quietly mutters Su Ming's name and says that Su Ming must do his best and not let him down. At the same time, Su Ming is far too busy with his own matters to hear any of this. Outside Red Rock Cave, Su Ming studies the map and thinks that the task location should be here. He feels relieved that he didn't encounter any troublesome small monsters along the way. He thinks that he never came to this place in his previous life, so there's no telling what kind of monsters might spawn here. Suddenly, he senses danger. A gold-digging goblin, level 6, appears, holding a spiked club. Seeing it, Su Ming feels a slight sense of caution, but the goblin immediately rushes toward him. Su Ming charges forward as well, gripping his sword tightly. He thinks that he can't let it alert the entire cave. With swift movements, he takes it down. Immediately, a notification appears, stating that Goblin Cave Awareness has been triggered and that Goblin Mode has been activated. Su Ming mutters in confusion and questions what that means. Soon after, he notices more goblins appearing around him. He realizes that this first-class change task is not as simple as he initially imagined. A whole group of goblins appears in front of him, including one particularly large goblin that stands out among the rest. Another notification appears, stating that all goblins inside Red Rock Cave will launch a fierce attack on him. The notification explains Goblin Mode as a self-indulgent lifestyle that deviates from social norms, filled with laziness, sloth, and greed. As Su Ming fights back with his sword, he cuts down goblins one after another. However, they continue to pour in endlessly, surrounding him from all sides. He thinks that although their levels aren't high, they are winning purely through sheer numbers. With so many goblins surrounding him, Su Ming is forced to step back a little. He worries that he doesn't know if his weapon's durability can hold out. At the same time, he notices that the boss, the large goblin, is also about to attack. He reacts quickly and dodges. However, as he leaps into the air, the goblins begin firing arrows at him. Far too many. Su Ming realizes that these goblins are actually quite smart. He thinks that they know it's difficult for him to make evasive adjustments while airborne. As he lands, the goblins on the ground are already waiting with daggers raised. Su Ming immediately jumps again and slashes at them mid-motion. He thinks that his mana in the early stages isn't enough to sustain Divine Shadow Step for long. Facing a group of goblins along with an elite goblin, and with limited skills available this early, it really is difficult to deal with them head-on. So he chooses to retreat instead. As he runs, he takes down any goblins that chase him too closely. He thinks that this way, he can stay more flexible and prioritize dodging when necessary. The goblins continue to pursue him relentlessly. However, Su Ming is simply too fast. After a short while, he manages to gain a brief moment to hide. There, he steadies himself and thinks that it's time. With a faint grin, he prepares an ambush, thinking for the goblins to come at him as he quietly sets a trap for them. As the goblins rush at him, Su Ming slashes and thinks that this is a gift for all of them. The goblins clearly don't appreciate the gift, as none of them survive the slashes. Su Ming says that as long as he holds the high ground of victory, he can fully unleash the maximum advantage of his Iaedo slash. As he continues cutting down the monsters, he soon reaches the boss. He remarks that, annoyingly, it seems the boss is the only one left and that its level is quite high. Meanwhile, at another location, someone is hiding in the grass and says that they're not joking. He explains that while scouting the route, he noticed the disturbance caused by fighting inside that cave. Yang Ding replies and tells him not to joke around. He says that according to the system description, the monsters in that area are all level 7 and above, and questions who would dare challenge what's inside right now. The other guy insists that he really did hear the sounds of battle coming from inside. Curious, they look in that direction and see smoke rising. Ding comments that it looks like someone is coming out. The other guy wonders who would dare to farm monsters there at this moment. As Ding focuses his eyes, he suddenly freezes. He realizes that the person coming out is someone he absolutely doesn't want to see. In his heart, he thinks that enemies really do meet on narrow roads. When he finally sees the figure clearly, he realizes that it's the brat who beat him in the sword bet. What shocks him even more is that Su Ming is already level 11. At the same time, Su Ming thinks that this first-class change quest is actually quite interesting. He reflects that the previous step was dangerous, but ultimately safe. Suddenly, he senses danger. As Ding raises his weapon and slashes, Su Ming quickly moves aside and dodges. Ding is shocked and shouts that he actually dodged it. He orders everyone to surround Su Ming and not let him escape. Su Ming calmly responds that he has no intention of escaping at all. Ding sneers and says that the other day, Su Ming made him suffer a loss, and that today he should blame his bad luck for being caught inside the dungeon. Su Ming looks at them carefully and says that he recognizes them now. Ding continues, asking if Su Ming is scared yet. Su Ming casually replies that he can't quite remember who they are. Ding is instantly furious and deeply offended. He explodes in anger, shouting that Su Ming completely forgot about them. He curses loudly, saying that it makes him even angrier that Su Ming forgot about winning 5,000 advent coins from him. He orders everyone to get him and take Su Ming down together. As the group rushes forward, Su Ming calmly says that there's no need to use force just because he doesn't remember them. Since things have come to this, he says he might as well try out his new skill. Su Ming draws his sword and begins slashing everyone around him, using sword control. Not a single person escapes without being hit by the blade. In just a short moment, everyone is knocked to the ground, crying out in pain. Seeing this, Su Ming thinks to himself that this is a huge success. Meanwhile, Ding is completely bewildered. He shouts in disbelief, saying that it's sword control and asking how that's even possible. He says he can't believe what's happening because sword control is a skill that only mid-stage sword controllers can learn, and questions how Su Ming could possibly know it already. As more slashes fly their way, Su Ming calmly thinks it through. He recalls that the sword control skill originally came from a silver tier skill scroll dropped by killing an elite goblin. He then upgraded it into a gold tier skill scroll using his talent, Sublimation of All Things, and after that, it randomly unlocked as a skill. He thinks that he didn't expect to be so compatible and actually unlock sword control. He realizes that with this, the news will definitely spread, and people will be even more convinced that his profession really is sword controller. More importantly, he remembers that after killing the goblins in Red Rock Cave, he obtained a hidden location map from the final chest of the first-class change quest. When Su Ming sees the notification confirming the hidden location map, he is shocked and momentarily speechless. The notification continues, stating that he has obtained treasure hidden coordinates. Red Rock Cave Part 2. Su Ming is confused and wonders why it is Red Rock Cave again. Then he notices an additional line beneath it, stating treasure hidden coordinates. Red Rock Cave Part 2, Goblin Commerce and Life. The subtitle Goblin Life leaves him even more puzzled. Later, at 11:30 a.m., another party is celebrating excitedly, saying they succeeded. They are thrilled that they finally managed to take down a monster. They say that they worked together to clear all the small mobs in the area and laugh, asking who said an all-girl team couldn't survive. They laugh together and proudly say that there are no boys here, only girls. One of them adds that they really need to thank the 7-star awakened Fanfensi for being willing to carry them. She suggests that they move on and distribute the loot. Another girl asks Fanfensi if she's okay and whether she's too tired. Someone else suggests checking to see if any good items dropped. Fanfensi responds that she's fine. However, when one of the girls turns around, she suddenly freezes. She asks where the other teammate went. She can't believe it, saying that the teammate is gone just like smoke. Panic creeps into her voice as she asks where she went and how she disappeared. She says that the teammate was just there a moment ago distributing loot, that the monsters in this area should have already been cleared, and that she doesn't see anything strange on the ground. As fear rises in her chest, she trails off, saying that this can't be happening and that she was actually... Suddenly, a scream tears through the air. The notification reads that Goblin Commerce and Life explains how goblins usually reside in dark and damp places such as caves, underground tunnels, deep forests, or ruins. It says they fear strong light, so these environments help them hide, avoid natural predators, and create opportunities for ambushes and plundering. The notification continues, explaining that goblins generally live in groups, forming small tribes or clans led by a chief or elder. Within these groups, there are specific roles such as warriors, craftsmen, hunters, and priests, each with distinct duties and a clear division of labor, emphasizing group cooperation. To maintain their growth, goblins have a high birth rate and rapid generational reproduction. It then explains the sword reproductive cycle, stating that the female goblin gestation period is typically only 1 to 3 months, far exceeding the efficiency of ordinary creatures. Early maturity is also notable, as goblin cubs can reach adulthood and participate in activities just 1 to 2 years after birth, forming an extremely fast breeding cycle. As Su Ming reads this, he exclaims in disbelief and thinks about how ridiculous it is. He can't believe how strange the goblin setting in this life is and wonders why it's so twisted. When he reaches the coordinate location, he hesitates and wonders if this is really the right place. Looking around, all he can see are woods, and he questions where the cave is, wondering if the coordinates are wrong. Everything around him is shrouded in fog. He activates his insight and suddenly understands what's going on. He realizes that because it's called Red Rock Cave Part 2, most people would assume it's a mountain cave. However, this time the key lies in the concept of buried treasure. The real location is actually an underground cavern. He realizes how clever it is, using fire to create smoke to conceal the cave entrance. With his skill, Su Ming finally sees through everything and locates it. He mutters that he's learned something this time, that killing even one goblin will alert the entire cave. Because of that, he decides to stay hidden, thinking that he's only here for the treasure. As he carefully moves around, he suddenly notices someone and realizes it's the female student who was challenging earlier. It looks like she was ambushed by the smoke trap. Su Ming thinks that this bunch of goblins really is as disgusting as their setting suggests. He turns his head away, not wanting to watch any further, and mutters for them not to come closer. He hears the girls crying out in fear, begging for it to stop. Su Ming thinks coldly that they are still living challengers, and that this timing is actually perfect. While the goblin's attention is drawn to them, he will be able to dig up the treasure without interference. In his heart, he decides that he can only leave them to die. He thinks that they can only blame themselves for not having the strength to face this novice dungeon. But then the girl cries out that she doesn't want to play anymore and begs someone to save her. She shouts that she'll give a huge reward and asks if anyone can hear her. She yells that her sister is the vice director of the Kong conglomerate. Hearing this, Su Ming immediately realizes what's going on and remembers what happened earlier. Just as the goblins are about to leap at her and she screams, Su Ming moves instantly. He slashes at all the goblins using sword control. He unsheathes his blade and unleashes an Iato slash. As the goblins are driven back, Su Ming thinks that he's exploiting their weakness of fearing light. He realizes that the energy released when drawing the sword during an Iato slash carries a strong burst of light. As long as he doesn't kill a single goblin, he won't have to flee, and more importantly, he won't alert the other goblins deeper in the cave. Just as he expected, the goblins don't chase them. The girl, unable to run any farther, looks at him gratefully and thanks him for saving her. She introduces herself as Zhang Yunqing. Su Ming immediately thinks that she's the girl from the photograph he saw before. Zhang Yunqing then says that he doesn't need to thank her. Su Ming replies that there's no need to thank him either and that he was just passing by. She hurriedly says that when she gets out of the dungeon, she'll give him a huge reward and starts mentioning her sister again. Su Ming cuts her off and tells her they can talk about that after she manages to get out alive. She panics and pleads with him not to leave her behind. Su Ming responds bluntly and tells her not to follow him. He says that he's already saved her once, and with her current strength, she would only slow him down. At that moment, Su Ming glances at his status interface and confirms that the treasure location is indeed correct. The goblins haven't changed their positions. He thinks that Zhang Yunqing's presence confirmed it, but then corrects himself, thinking that he already verified it on his own. He immediately decides to dig it up. Once the chest is revealed, Su Ming thinks that this dungeon level drops the highest silver quality random lottery chest. He plans to use his talent, sublimation of all things, to further improve its quality. Zhang Yunqing watches with wide eyes and gasps in amazement. When the chest opens, she excitedly exclaims that it's a low-grade gold-tier lottery chest. She explains that, as the name suggests, it can randomly draw high-level items, skill books, or equipment with a very high probability. She's clearly thrilled, and Su Ming also feels a trace of anticipation as he wonders what kind of good item will come out. As the draw begins, a notification appears, announcing that he has obtained the Shadow Flow set, set. Soul Healer Skill Scroll. Su Ming frowns and says that this is all he got from the extra rewards he worked so hard for during the first class change task. He says that the Shadow Stream set actually looks pretty good, but questions what this platinum grade Soul Healer Skill Scroll is doing there. He says that it definitely exceeded his expectations, but it doesn't match his profession at all. The girl behind him hesitates and says that maybe it's because she's here. Su Ming reacts in confusion and asks what she means. She then explains that her awakened profession is a 7-star soul healer. At that moment, Su Ming understands what happened, but he's clearly not happy about it. Soon after, a notification appears and clears up the confusion. It states that Jiang Yunqing has joined his team and that Su Ming has become the team leader. Elsewhere, at the dungeon's 9 o'clock position, many people are being taken down one after another. The primary class change task interface updates, showing that taking down players is now at 33 out of 50 completed. The guy responsible laughs arrogantly and calls out, saying that the weak only have one path, which is death, and that next, it's their turn. His gaze then falls on a woman nearby. It's Ji Yao. She is accompanied by her skeleton warrior, and she looks genuinely frightened. At 12:30 p.m., violent explosions erupt as a fierce battle breaks out. Ji Yao stays silent, trying her best to hide from the monster that has already taken down many players. However, the enemy senses her movement. She is truly terrified. The man suddenly strikes in her direction and mocks her, saying it's like playing eagle catching chicks. Ji Yao is blasted backward by the attack. The man then sneers and says that he really didn't expect a female like her to withstand his hunt for so long. He says she wasted quite a bit of his time, but still praises her, saying that for a girl, she actually has some skill. He adds that it seems Shenjing Academy isn't entirely made up of trash after all. Ji Yao struggles to stand and questions him. She says that his school uniform clearly belongs to a student from Wuyang City's Wuzing Academy and asks why he came to their novice dungeon to slaughter innocent players. The man laughs and replies that there's no special reason. He explains that his level 10 first class change task just happened to assign him the objective of taking down 50 players. With a task like that, he couldn't go on a killing spree in his own city's dungeon. So he flew his private small plane to this area's novice dungeon and took down everyone he encountered. He finishes by saying that if anyone wants to blame something, they should blame Shenjing Academy for having the most trash students among all the cities. He sneers and says that if you're going to squeeze someone, you should pick a soft persimmon. With that, he rushes straight toward Ji Yao. Ji Yao tries to fight back once again, summoning even more necromantic skeletons. However, the man casually punches through them and cuts them down with a single slash. He mocks her, saying that her basic skeleton toys can't withstand even one strike from him. Ji Yao knows he's right, but she has no choice except to keep trying her best. The man then coldly says that this time, he won't let her run away again. With a blood-colored blade flying through the air, he launches another direct attack at her. As Ji Yao sees the attack coming, she is genuinely terrified. Suddenly, another slash cuts in from the side and knocks his attack away. The man freezes, looks around in disbelief, and asks who it is. Ji Yao also turns her head in shock. At that moment, a voice calls out and tells classmate Ji Yao that they will cover for her. Ji Yao looks closely and recognizes the speaker. It's the classmate who previously wanted to team up with Su Ming. This time, he has come to help her. At 12 p.m., a notification appears, stating that treasure fragments have been submitted. Su Ming thinks that with this, the task should be considered complete. The notification immediately confirms it, announcing that the primary class change task has been completed and that he has been promoted through his first class change as Sword God. It states that all attributes have increased by 10. The notification continues, announcing a new talent, Origin Sword Body, and states that the mythical effect has been enhanced. Swordsmanship power, speed, and proficiency are all doubled. Su Ming thinks that with this boost, he now has much more confidence in challenging the dungeon's hidden boss. Jiang Yunqing can't help but exclaim in amazement. As Su Ming turns around, another notification appears, stating that the Soul Healer skill scroll has been used successfully. Jiang Yunqing is overjoyed as the notification continues, announcing that the skill soul buff has been obtained. It describes Soul Buff as a platinum high-grade skill with 0 proficiency out of 300,000. It consumes soul power to activate, and when active, the experience points gained by everyone in the team increase by 200%. Seeing this, Su Ming is shocked. He says that he can't believe it and that increasing experience by 200% is absurd. He realizes that she randomly unlocked an absolute leveling god skill and admits that her luck is truly something else. After a brief pause, he sighs and says that considering this, he's changed his mind. He reminds her that earlier she wanted him to carry her through the novice dungeon, and now he agrees. Jiang Yunqing is delighted and says that's great. She adds that the hired thugs her older sister recruited didn't manage to escape the Goblin Cave, but with a player like him leading her, it will definitely be much safer. Su Ming sighs inwardly and thinks that he doesn't really like rich young ladies who use money to take shortcuts. However, for the sake of that skill, he admits that there's nothing he can do. A message arrives for Su Ming. He thinks that it's Ji Yao's message. At the same time, the enemy is still attacking everyone who's trying to save Ji Yao. He's far too powerful for anyone there to handle. No matter what they throw at him, he casually slashes and smacks everything away. The man scoffs and says that he didn't expect anyone to be able to pierce through his skill. Ji Yao is clearly terrified. Another teammate cries out and calls for their brother. Immediately after, a voice announces that a skill has been activated, blood bleed flying stab. With that attack, even more people are taken down. Ji Yao trembles and says that this guy is way too strong. The team leader grimly says that all of his teammates have already fallen. Ji Yao can't believe it and says that Wuxing Academy actually hasn't awakened this powerful. The leader replies that there aren't many people with this level of strength. He says that before challenging the novice dungeon, he did his research. There is one awakened with overwhelming power who uses a blade, the mad genius from neighboring Wuyang City, Li Chunguang. He has an innate 10-star talent and a hidden profession called Bleed Maniac. Li Chunguang looks at them coldly and says that now only the two of them remain. He complains that they've wasted too much of his time and says that his progress is still only 35 out of 100. The leader clenches his teeth and says that as a ranged profession, he has no way to deal with him if he can't create distance. Ji Yao says that her mana has already bottomed out and that she can't summon any more spirits for cover. The leader asks Ji Yao whether they can still wait for backup. At that moment, a message from Su Ming appears. Ji Yao shakes her head and says that there is no backup. Li Chunguang sneers and says that it looks like they're completely isolated and helpless. He declares that he'll take out the annoying archer first and charges straight toward the leader. Suddenly, a voice urgently calls out Ji Yao's name and tells classmate Yen Jie to run. Ji Yao steps forward instead, facing the attack head-on. She says that she'll hold him off there and tells Yi Jian to run away. Li Chunguang laughs coldly and says that she's overestimating herself. He mocks her, saying that a weakling like her has no right to save others. That voice feels chillingly familiar to Ji Yao. Suddenly, a red flash cuts through the air, intercepting and wiping out every attack Li Chunguang sends her way. Then a familiar voice calls her name. Ji Yao freezes and immediately recognizes it. Su Ming. As the dust settles, Su Ming stands there, having arrived at last. He calmly says that she absolutely has the ability to save everyone. At that moment, the earlier message is shown clearly. Ji Yao had warned Su Ming that there was extreme danger in the 9 o'clock area and that he absolutely must not get close. She never expected anyone to come. All she wanted was for Su Ming not to get hurt. However, Su Ming has already arrived. He remembers everything Ji Yao has done for him. He thinks that in his previous life, Ji Yao feared no danger and rushed in to save him. In this life, she has once again encountered danger, yet she still prioritizes protecting others. Even now, Ji Yao scolds him and says that she already told him this place is dangerous. Su Ming looks at her and tells her not to always worry about others first. He says that in this life, he will protect her properly. Suddenly, a sword stabs into the ground right beside Li Chengwang. Su Ming calmly announces sword controller, sword control. Li Chengwang's expression changes instantly and he shouts in shock, asking if it's him. In the next moment, Su Ming attacks straight at his head. Li Chengwang immediately recognizes him and shouts that it's that 10-star sword controller. Su Ming coldly calls him a redhead and slashes again, forcing Li Chengwang back. He asks if he is the one who hurt Ji Yao. Yi Jian witnesses everything and exclaims in shock that 10-star Su Ming is unbelievably strong. He says that if he provides ranged support, they might actually have a chance to win. Suddenly, Yi Jian feels his health rapidly recovering. He's stunned and asks who is healing them. Ji Yao answers that it's her. Jiang Yunqing steps forward and introduces herself, saying she is Su Ming's teammate. She explains that she's a soul healer and will help treat them. Yi Jian is relieved and says that it's amazing to have a healer on the team. Jiang Yunqing then adds honestly that she isn't very familiar with using her healing skills yet, and needs some time to adjust. Ji Yao frowns and asks why Su Ming suddenly has a teammate when he said he wouldn't team up with anyone. She feels genuinely disappointed because she wanted to be his teammate herself. Yi Jian apologizes and says he hopes Jiang Yunqing can be quick because it's still very dangerous for Su Ming to fight that guy alone. However, deep down, Yi Jian strangely doesn't feel too worried. This surprises even him, and he mutters in confusion. Ji Yao also listens carefully as Zhang Yunqing calmly says that Su Ming is very strong. At the same time, Su Ming completely overwhelms Li Chengwang. The so-called mad genius who was aiming to take down 50 players is now being crushed, his progress about to come to a full stop. Li Chengwang grows increasingly furious and confused. He can't understand how Su Ming, who is supposedly just a sword controller, could have such terrifying movement techniques. He is filled with frustration and disbelief, unable to accept what is happening right in front of him. Su Ming prepares for another round of strikes, but Li Chengwang retreats a few steps. He admits that, as expected of a 10-star awakened, Su Ming's strength has indeed exceeded his expectations. He declares that today, no matter what happens, he, Li Chengwang, the 10-star blade maniac awakened from Wuyang City, will see who is stronger, himself or the 10-star sword controller from the bottom-tier Shenjing Academy. Hearing that name, Su Ming immediately recognizes it and says Li Chengwang's name aloud. In his mind, he thinks that he's heard of this guy before. In his previous life, Li Chengwang was indeed quite a famous figure. He never had the chance to meet him back then, so unexpectedly encountering him so early in this life feels interesting. With excitement rising, Su Ming rushes forward and says that they'll see whether his sword is sharper or Li Chengwang's blade is harder. The two clash head-on, their weapons colliding as their attacks meet. Li Chengwang suddenly activates a skill and shouts blood blade flying. Su Ming reacts instantly, commenting that Li Chengwang is throwing flying blades at him so brazenly. Already prepared, he slashes away every blade coming toward him. However, Li Chengwang sneers and says that Su Ming fell for it. In the next moment, Su Ming feels his body stiffen. The blade energy from blood blade flying has locked him in place, immobilizing him. Seeing this, Li Chengwang believes he has finally seized the moment to end the fight and takes control of the battlefield. But then, Su Ming calmly gathers his aura and activates sword control. His sword shoots forward, and the immobilization is instantly dispelled. Su Ming says that now it's his turn and calls his sword back. With full control over his weapon, Su Ming continues his assault. He treats the sword like a flying jet, sending it looping around and striking from behind Li Chengwang. He asks how Li Chengwang plans to block without a weapon. This time, the attack lands cleanly. Li Chengwang is visibly frustrated, having not expected this outcome. Still gripping his blade, he shouts that at this moment, Su Ming doesn't have a weapon either. He immediately rushes forward, charging straight at Su Ming from behind. However, Su Ming has already prepared something else. He activates Divine Shadow Step along with Chaotic Shadow 5 blades, allowing him to evade every incoming attack. Seeing Su Ming's sudden burst of speed, Li Chengwang is shocked and thinks that Su Ming's movement speed has increased drastically. Su Ming apologizes calmly as he once again sends his sword spiraling around the battlefield before shooting straight back at Li Chengwang. He says that his sword is back. Elsewhere, Yi Jian finishes healing and calls out that they're coming and tells Su Ming to hold on. But as Yi Jian moves toward the battlefield, he suddenly notices something strange. As the smoke clears, he sees the figures standing there and freezes in surprise. He wonders if the battle is already over. It looks like Su Ming has already handled everything by himself. Both Yi Jian and Ji Yao are stunned. At the same time, they feel hopeful and overwhelmingly happy. They are finally seeing the person they wanted to become a hero. Ji Yao immediately runs towards Su Ming and excitedly says that he's incredibly strong. Yi Jian also speaks in disbelief and asks if Su Ming really took down such a powerful opponent while they were healing. Suddenly, a dangerous aura surges behind Su Ming. Ji Yao notices it first and urgently shouts for him to watch out from behind. Su Ming turns around and sees Li Chengwang preparing another attack, and this one is far fiercer than before. Li Chengwang sneers and says that Su Ming showed an opening. In the next instant, an extremely powerful strike erupts. Someone is badly injured. Yi Jian and Ji Yao watch in shock, along with Zhang Yunqing. The one who gets hurt this time is Ji Yao. She cries out Su Ming's name. Before Su Ming can react, Li Chengwang unleashes his powerful skill, the Raging Rainforest Rapid Blade. Everyone screams in alarm for Su Ming. Li Chengwang bursts into laughter and says that they are welcome to his blade formation. Ji Yao desperately says that she's coming to save Su Ming. Yi Jian urgently stops her and tells her to calm down, warning that rushing into the blade formation now would only be throwing her life away. But Ji Yao struggles and says that even if it means death, she has to go save Su Ming. Ming. At that moment, a calm voice stops her. Su Ming tells her to listen to Yi Jian. He firmly tells her not to get close. As Li Chengwang gets hit, he shouts in disbelief and asks how this is possible. He says that Su Ming hit him with so many blades, yet he still isn't defeated. Su Ming calmly responds and asks whether Li Chengwang is sure he actually hit him. Li Chengwang's expression changes instantly. He realizes something is wrong and shouts that the voice isn't coming from there, recognizing that it's a substitute. He immediately moves to reposition himself. Su Ming casually remarks that he finally noticed. Su Ming then explains that no matter how much Li Chengwang thought about it, he probably never expected an ordinary sword controller like him to possess a skill like this. He reveals the Shadow Sword set, low-grade platinum, with 5 out of 5 pieces active. He explains the set effects. Search of Darkness causes all sword techniques to deal additional dark attribute damage after equipping the full set, and this damage can bypass physical defense. The set skill, Shadow Clone, spawns a fake shadow as a defensive measure. When Shadow Clone is active and attacked, it triggers an additional follow-up slash equal to 50% of normal attack damage. Su Ming finishes by saying that this is his equipment set skill. Li Chengwang is stunned and says that there are absolutely no collectible equipment sets in the Novice dungeon. He immediately realizes that there is only one explanation, that Su Ming has already completed the Junior Profession Change quest. Su Ming confirms calmly that he guessed correctly and says that he completed the Junior Profession Change quest a long time ago. This revelation completely shocks Li Chengwang. He can't believe it and feels extremely frustrated. He shouts that Su Ming actually did it faster than him. Su Ming slashes again and coldly tells him that now there's no choice left. Li Chengwang can only let himself be taken down. At that moment, Su Ming notices something falling from Li Chengwang's body, and bright light bursts out everywhere. Yi Jian immediately recognizes it and shouts that it's a life-saving ornament. Li Chengwang, startled, repeats the words in confusion. Yi Jian explains that it's a tool that allows a player to forcibly exit the dungeon in an emergency when thrown out at a critical moment. At 2 p.m., inside the control room, a lady monitoring the screens suddenly reacts in surprise and says that something is wrong. The principal asks what happened and whether she retrieved the real-time level rankings of the players inside the dungeon. She responds that it's not that. She explains that the data feedback shows multiple players died in the dungeon's 9 o'clock direction between 12 o'clock and 12:30. The principal asks what's strange about that, saying that several squads probably ran into difficult monsters. The lady shakes her head and replies that it's not exactly that. She explains that data analysis shows those players were taken down by player data that does not belong to the city's region. The principal grows concerned and says that player data not belonging to the city's region means the neighboring cities are playing tricks again. He orders them to save all the data records properly. He says that every city's novice dungeon is competing to clear it first, and as the bottom of the barrel, Xianjing Academy has once again become a target for bullying. He then asks how the students' progress in clearing the dungeon is going right now. The lady replies that the dungeon progress is good. She says that most of the teleportation zones have already been secured by the students. The limited real-time dungeon footage they can retrieve shows that some capable players have organized large groups and have already started tackling the dungeon boss stages. She adds that the one currently taking the lead is none other than the young master of the Zhang family, the B-star magic hammer warrior, Zhang Teng. The principal nods and says that this is as expected, since Zhang Teng is full of potential. He recalls that a few hours ago, Zhang Teng was only level 6 on the leaderboard. He says that the novice dungeon's final boss is level 12, so with Zhang Teng leading a large force, he's probably close to level 10 by now. He hopes Zhang Teng can take down the boss quickly and bring glory to the academy. The lady responds that the real-time ranking data analysis has just come out. She confirms that the principal's guess was correct and says that Zhang Teng is already level 9 and close to level 10. She adds that he is currently tied for first place on the real-time leaderboard. The principal is surprised and says that if he's tied for first, then the other one must be student Yanji. The lady confirms this and says yes. She then adds that the second and third places close behind are both female students. One is the undead summoner Ji Yao at level 7, and the other is the soul healer Jiang Yunqing at level 8. The principal remarks that even the female students are this promising now. He then asks whether they have seen student Su Ming. The lady replies that student Su Ming does not appear in the data at the top of the leaderboard. The principal frowns and tells her to search for him, asking what level student Su Ming is at right now. The lady looks shocked and asks if he really wants her to check. The principal presses her again and asks what level he is. She replies in disbelief that Su Ming is at level 2. The principal can't believe it. The data clearly shows that after Su Ming obtained first blood, his level never increased again. At 2:30 p.m., back inside the dungeon, a notification appears stating that an elite spark-toothed beast has been successfully taken down. Su Ming has now reached level 14. The system congratulates him and announces that he has leveled up to level 14 and unlocked a hidden set appearance. Jiang Yunqing comments that in just over 2 hours of grinding monsters, they've already gone up several levels. Ji Yao adds excitedly that she's already level 10 and can now challenge the dungeon boss. She says that the reason they leveled up so fast is all thanks to Jiang Yunqing's skill that buffs experience. Jiang Yunqing is also happy and says that she's glad she was able to help so many people. She adds that they should actually be thanking Su Ming for giving her such an amazing skill. Ji Yao agrees and says that their current squad is just too strong. She points out that they have Yunqing's healing that also boosts experience, Yan Ji's precise long-range DPS, and her own summon little cuties to provide cover. She then says that the most important thing of all is having such a powerful player like Su Ming leading them. Su Ming responds modestly and says that they don't need to be polite since it's all their own strength and he's just riding on their coattails. Ji Yao reacts in surprise and asks if Su Ming is being sarcastic. She says that if he hadn't come to save them, both she and Yan Ji would definitely have died under Li Chengwang's blade. Recalling those terrifying moments, she adds that Su Ming was incredibly amazing and handsome when he fought Li Chengwang back then. She says that she firmly believes that with their current combination, if they challenge the dungeon boss now, they can definitely clear it easily. Su Ming acknowledges her words and says that she's right, but unfortunately, his target isn't the ordinary dungeon boss. He explains that what he wants to challenge is the even more powerful hidden boss. As he takes out a key, a notification appears stating that an item has been obtained from the elite spark-toothed beast, the water ripple key. The notification explains that to find the novice dungeon's hidden boss, they must first solve 3 riddles guided by the dungeon data and collect the corresponding 3 items. It announces the first riddle, describing the silver moon by the shore, green waves parting, and red armor sleeping in the core of the cold abyss. Su Ming explains that the trigger location is when the silver moon appears in the sky. He says that since there is no dungeon weather system in the novice dungeon, there's only one place where plants naturally grow into the shape of a moon. He continues, explaining that behind the lake surface lies the exact location of the hidden treasure. He describes how the lake water turns into mist, using iris petals as a guide, and that beneath the sunken sand, the armor keeps the old covenant. Thinking back, Su Ming adds that from the moment he entered the dungeon, he immediately gathered the trigger item, the iris flower, from the ape monster area. He says he later combined it with the water ripple key, which corresponds to the third riddle. The third riddle describes holding a star-patterned key to reflect on the lake bottom, with 9 ripples circling the bedrock, and the knight resting its head on its sword while waiting for light to break the turbid waves. After putting everything together and making a few final adjustments, Su Ming confirms that it worked. Ji Yao asks in amazement how he managed to solve these riddles so quickly. At that moment, everyone notices a whirlpool forming in the lake. A voice echoes out, declaring that by oath and starlight, the summon is complete. From the lake, a dark figure with glowing red eyes slowly emerges, radiating danger and ready to unleash chaos. If you don't want to miss out on what happens next, subscribe now and turn on all the notifications.